one of my favorite side characters. Akita has got to be one of my favorite side characters. Introduced in season 11, she's a formling in the Never Realm who begins as a wolf and who is eventually revealed to be a girl who accompanies Lloyd on his journey to the Ice Emperor's castle. At the end of that season, we get this line.
As for Lloyd, my brother thinks I will never see him again. But I think he is wrong.
Which led people to theorize what a Lloyd-Akita reunion would look like. And the conclusion that a lot of people came to is that by the time the ninja got around to going back to visit the Neverrealm, Akita would be old. Like, really old grandma old. Or maybe that so much time had passed in the Neverrealm that Akita isn't even around anymore. It's a pretty common theory that you'll see in the comment section of any post involving Akita. Today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. Today, we are debunking this theory. That's right, everybody, it's Kit here to guide you through the Ninjago fandom yet again, and today you'd better buckle up because we are proving this theory wrong using facts and logic and a whole lot of math. Spoiler alert for Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu. Obviously. Now, before we break this theory, we first need to establish the facts. The biggest mystery running through the Ice chapter is what happened to Zane after Esfira zapped him into the Neverrealm. The big twist at the end is that Zane is the Ice Emperor, the big villain for the chapter, after the power of the Forbidden Scroll and manipulation from Vex turned him into a bad guy. The only problem is that the Ice Emperor has been ruling over the realm for many decades.
How long have you been holding that?
Many decades.
Decades?
But how is that possible if the ninja followed Zane to the Neverrealm just a couple days after he was sent there? You would think that this is something that the show would explain, but it doesn't.
What about the time difference? How do you explain that?
I can't.
The closest we get is this line from Lloyd.
Time must be different here.
Well, yeah, time is different. I can see that. The question is how? How is time different?
Somehow, Zane is the Ice Emperor.
The first explanation that the fandom came up with is that time in the Neverrealm passes more quickly. So in the handful of days that it took the ninja to get to the Neverrealm, decades worth of time were simultaneously passing in the Neverrealm. This is the explanation that writer of the show Doc Wyatt seemed to think was true. But in order to see if this is feasible, let's run the numbers. Now the Ice Emperor says that he's been ruling for many decades, so we know that he's almost certainly been on the throne longer than 30 years. Tommy Andreasen later clarified that he thought it was about 60 years. That feels fair, so let's go with that. So if we know that Zane had 60 years of rule in the Neverrealm before the ninja showed up, all we need to get our time ratio here is how long it took the ninja to get to the Neverrealm. It's a little unclear. We see Pixel has a nightmare about Zane, Esfira is imprisoned, and Wu goes to speak with her about Zane, and that night the ninjas steal the Traveler's Tea and head to the Neverrealm. So we know there were at least 2 nights before they left, but let's be generous and say it was around 6 days total between Zane being sent to the Neverrealm and the ninja following after. And that way our math is also easier. 60 years of Neverrealm time divided by 6 days Ninjago time means that for every day that passes in Ninjago, 10 years, a full decade, passes in the Neverrealm. And 10 years times about 365 days in a year means that the Neverrealm is moving 3,650 times faster than Ninjago. If that is true, that means thousands of years would have passed in between the end of season 11 and the merge. That does not sound good for Akita. But does this crazy ratio actually hold up? The Ice chapter doesn't just show us what the ninja are doing in the Neverrealm, it also shows us what the people of Ninjago are doing while they're away. There are 2 separate episodes with this perspective. The Absolute Worst, which ends with Samurai X capturing some villains at night, and Kaiju Protocol, which ends with Samurai X fighting the Preeminent at night. Logically, these two episodes take place on 2 different days, so we know that at least 2 days pass Ninjago time while the ninja are in the Neverrealm. But according to our established ratio of 1 day in Ninjago equaling 10 years in the Neverrealm, that means that the ninja are stuck in the Neverrealm for 20 years. That does not seem correct to me. So maybe I did some estimating wrong. What if it took the ninja a solid month to grieve their loss before they realized that there was still hope and went after Zane? So for our new ratio, we know that we have 60 years of Never time for every 1 month that passes in Ninjago time. We know every month has 30 days in it, so that gives us our new ratio of 2 years Neverrealm time for every 1 day Ninjago time. So again, let's test our ratio out later in the season. If we still think that the ninja were only gone for 2 days Ninjago time, we can multiply that by our ratio, and that still gives us 4 years that the ninja were stuck in the Neverrealm. That still seems way too long for what we see in the show. And I can prove that too. In Master of the Mountain, the ninja refer to this and other missions all as taking place within weeks.
We've been gone for weeks, Cole.
Not only does this imply that seasons 11, 12, and 13 happen immediately back to back, but it also implies that season 11 couldn't have taken more than a couple of weeks from the ninja's perception. Okay, so maybe we use this new information to work backwards. We know about the amount of time that the ninja were in the Neverrealm, and we know the minimum amount of time that could have passed in Ninjago while they were gone. So let's use that information to try and make a new ratio, see if that one works. We think that 1 month Never time is equal to 2 days Ninjago time. We can multiply that by 30 days in every month. That gives us a new ratio of about 15 to 1. For every day that passes in Ninjago, 15 pass in the Neverrealm. So let's see if this new ratio works with our first time gap between Zane leaving and the ninja following. 60 years Never time multiplied by our 1 Ninjago to 15 Neverrealm ratio gives us 4 years of Ninjago time, meaning that in Ninjago, the gap between Zane being blasted away and the ninja following him is 4 years. That cannot be true. There is no chance it took Wu 4 years to go and visit Aspira for the first time. There's no way that everybody looks the same, that the team hasn't split up, that Pixel is still having plot-relevant nightmares. There is no way that the time skip between episodes 14 and 15 of season 11 is 4 times as long as the time skip between seasons 14 and 15. Any way that you try and make this time moves faster theory work, it doesn't. It just doesn't make sense. You can't make it make sense. And all of this is still operating on the extremely conservative estimate that the ninja were only gone from Ninjago for 2 days, which not only assumes that the Absolute Worst and Kaiju Protocol happened back to back, but also that news broke to the papers that the ninja were gone, it was printed, and somebody discarded one of those papers close enough to prison walls that one blew over in less than a day. So unless time passed differently means that time literally started passing differently when the ninja entered the Neverrealm, slowing it down to Ninjago time, then I don't know how this theory is supposed to work. And if you do think that that's what happened, then it doesn't even really matter, because theoretically Akita should be living on the same time scale as Ninjago for the rest of the series at that point. So it doesn't even matter. She's fine. She's fine! And I guess you could argue that, like, maybe years or days just aren't as long in the Neverrealm from, like, a planetary standpoint. But I don't know, if it turns out that the Ice Emperor was only ruling for, like, what we would consider 1 month, then that kinda sucks the drama out of it a little bit, don't you think?
Decades!
Luckily, we do have another explanation. Our good friend Tommy Andreasen suggested, for some reason in a live video chat that Esphira didn't just send Zane to the Neverrealm, she also sent him back in time 60 years. That explains why Zane was able to rule the Neverrealm for so long before the ninja show up just a couple days later. And that means that the same amount of time passes in Ninjago as it does in the Neverrealm, so we don't need any complicated fractions to try and get the timeline to work. Thank goodness. And to put a cherry on top of all of this, we know for a fact that formlings like Akita age way slowly. Akita's tribe gets frozen over when winter comes to the Neverrealm, which is when the Ice Emperor comes into power. That happens when she's a child. And 60 years of Ice Emperor rule later, Akita is a teenager, taking revenge on the Ice Emperor. So Akita is definitely set to live a nice long life, barring any outside circumstances. She might even be younger than we expect her to be if we ever see her again because of her slow aging process. So nobody freak out, Akita is most likely doing just fine. Join me next time when I promise there will be way less math involved. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure and come back for weekly Ninjago fun right here at kids.lego.com/Ninjago. Keep spinning.